Okay. Welcome, everyone. It is another week in professional wrestling. This is the No Sell Wrestling podcast. This is episode 12. Today, you lucky people only get two of us. You just get myself and Alan, the best tag team in all of WWE.
Damn
not
straight.
that would be difficult, because they've fired all of their tag teams, Alan. They have tag teams.
That's right, isn't it? There's about 4 left, isn't there?
If that. So I would say, as I said to Alan, I joked to Alan in WhatsApp, me and Alan could literally team up and win the belts, and we could, because there'd be no other tag team for us to fight. We just
especially with this John Cena Classic, we don't even have to win.
Exactly. All we've got to do is just kind of suck you off a little bit and say, "Oh, look, please like me, please like me." I mean, that was John Cena in a nutshell. He didn't have any talent, right? So he was only there because he tried to get people to like him. We all remember, Alan, the weekly suck off stuff he used to do for every crowd he was in. We all remember this.
Oh yes.
Don't get me started because I know that Ryan's in the chat, bless him, and the first thing he hears is me having to go at Cena. Big up, Ryan. Thank you for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, Ryan.
Right, I suppose. Right, so as I said, it's just me and Alan. Unfortunately, Com couldn't make it. We thought there'd be 3 of us, but unfortunately, he's had to pull out at the last minute. So you just get the great tag team that is me and Alan, the new version of Demolition. We wish. But yeah, so we had our PLE. They're not pay-per-views anymore, as I keep getting told. Got to stop living in the past, Alan. Apparently, they're not pay-per-views anymore. The PLEs.
The PPVs to me. God damn it.
I know they are. But yeah, the PLEs. This one had 5 matches. Lucky us, we did get a 5th match this time. And then, of course, we will talk about Raw. As normal with me, I can't watch 3 hours of professional wrestling, especially TV shows with that many adverts. So the best I can do is generally I'll watch the highlights. And if there's a certain segment that looks promising, I will then go back and put Netflix on and then watch just that segment. I can't manage it, dude. I don't know if you're the same as me, but I can't do it.
Literally, I have it on in the background. I mean, I start watching it, first like 5 minutes I'm glued, and then after that, my attention span just wavers.
Yeah, it's too much. I do think there is too much wrestling. I think the weekly one show. I mean, this is me and Alan showing our ages, but I think the Monday Night Wars, when it was just the one shows, just the Monday shows, I think that was it. I think you only needed those 2 or 3 hours. I don't think you needed anything more. You didn't need multiple shows per week, 3-hour shows.
No, you did. Yeah, that's right. You didn't.
And then you built to a proper pay-per-view at the end of the month, and a proper pay-per-view normally had 7 or 8 matches. But they were matches after matches. You got a match, then you might have a backstage segment or an interview. You went to the next match. You didn't spend 15 minutes bigging up sponsors, showing me D-list celebrities in the crowd who I've never even bloody heard of. Right? They didn't do this stuff. It was match, promo, match, maybe a backstage segment, onto the next match. It made them special.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
They've lost it.
Yeah, all the planning, all the drama, all the storytelling was all in there.
Back in my day, yeah, it was simpler. I mean, everything was simpler, but wrestling was also a bit simpler as well. I just think that I'm burnt out with it. So, but nonetheless, we run this channel, me, Alan, Com, and Kev, and we endeavour to bring you this week in wrestling. So, Backlash.
Backlash.
Right.
Backlash.
So now, wrestling wise, I've seen worse pay-per-views. In ring, wrestling wise, I've seen many a worse pay-per-view than this, right?
Yeah, I agree.
There's probably 2 or 3 matches that were probably decent enough in the ring. And even the stupid tag match that we'll get to, the Danhausen, even Little Torito. I can't deny that the little guy is not talented lucha midget wrestler. Is that the right term to use? I apologize. I don't know what else to
little person.
Little
person,
no.
Yeah. That'd be Michael Cole.
Michael Cole called them that. Yes, there you go.
Yes, he did.
Well, if he can do it, then I can do it. But no, little person. Sorry. Okay,
person.
Okay, that's what they should be called. Okay.
Just think South Park.
Person. Yeah. Don't get me started, South Park. Alan.
David Nelson. He's a little person.
And he gets so angry. Yeah.
Words are like bullets. Anyway.
So even that match, technical wise, the little dude was as El Torito was. It was the same wrestler who played El Torito. He's a talented lucha wrestler. I can't deny that the guy's not talented. The in-ring proportions weren't the problem. The problem was everything else. The in-ring wasn't the problem with this pay-per-view. I guess we'll start at the start. Obviously, the first match.
So Rollins versus
Breaker.
Bron Breaker.
I thought it was okay. I thought that story-wise, I think this has been the best built of all the matches. This had the longest story. Obviously, the feud dates back to when they turned on Rollins. So you're talking about October? Was that September, October last year?
Yeah, it's something like that. It wasn't long after Rollins won the world title, was it?
Yeah, so it was before Punk. It was obviously just before Punk started his title reign. So I think it was like September or October. So this has got an 8-month build or so, right? It probably should have taken place at WrestleMania because it looks like that Braun was ready to go at WrestleMania. He certainly was ready enough to run down the aisle and hit, well, quote unquote, hit the spear because he watched it. So they probably should have had this match, but they probably figured, well, if we have this match, then Gunther's got nothing to do. But really, this match should have been at WrestleMania. But it wasn't. We got it. The story's been okay. I thought the promo they had was good. The Raw before, the built it. I thought that was a good promo from both of them. So storyline-wise, this is probably my most anticipated match when it comes to the story. The match itself was pretty good. Some good counters, but it was a bit botchy. Now, is it botchy because you got two guys who Rollins has had this is Rollins' second match back from an injury, and this is Breaker's first match back. Is that the reason you think there was botches? But they're just a little bit cold because neither one had many matches the past 6 months.
I mean, it could be where it could very well have been. Obviously, Rollins has a history of injuries, so I don't know whether Rollins was trying to play it safe and try not to, go the distance with all the things he was hitting and all the bumps he was taking. So
yeah.
that could be that. But it's probably most likely he's ring rust. I mean, Bron Breaker's not exactly the most technical guy, is he? He's a power wrestler. He just, clothesline, power bomb, gorilla press, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was a good counter. The Breaker counters. Obviously, Rollins goes for his superplex Falcon Arrow combination, and obviously Breaker reverses the Falcon Arrow part and hits his own. So there was a couple. I remember that
was a good counter. I did enjoy that. That was good.
I remember the Frankensteiner from the buckle. He hits one. Obviously, it's an impressive move, especially for his size. And then Rollins doesn't quite hit it. He tries to land on his feet from the second one. He kind of does, but he kind of stumbles. So it wasn't the cleanest, but he tried it. I think he's been watching some Kenny Omega matches because that's what I think. Or is it Will Ospreay? I think it's Ospreay likes to do that move. But with all due respect, Rollins probably not quite as athletic as Will Ospreay, and older as well, and his body's much more beat up. So, but I know what he was going for. But this is what I mean. It was a little botchy. It wasn't the cleanest match I've ever seen. But it was their first match together. I think they had a match in NXT many years ago, but certainly it's their first proper match together. And it looks like the feud's going to continue based on Raw. So we're probably going to get another match or two. So I guess as a first outing, it was acceptable. And of course, the ending is a little screwy to protect Rollins. Obviously, the other the Jobber Vision members, that's what they are right now. Come on. The Jobber Vision members come out. Rollins kind of beats them all up and then gets back into the ring and then is speared by a Breaker for a good near fall. I thought that would have been the ending, but Rollins just about kicks out. That was a good near fall.
Yeah.
And then obviously he tries to do the top rope stomp and then Breaker spears him again and then he hits his big spear for the win. I think it was the right result, but I think in my predictions, I really thought that they wouldn't have Seth lose again because that's two matches, high-profile matches in a row that Rollins has lost. So Rollins, who's come back, when did he make his return? January? Royal Rumble? February? Even though he's only wrestled two matches, because obviously they're trying to protect him, he's still lost. He's not won. He's not won since he came back. So that's why I was surprised to see him lose again. I thought he'd win this one. But no, the Rollins is Rollins entering this stage of his career, as all wrestlers have to get to, where they start to lose more than they win. Is he heading that direction, or is it just like, I don't know? Is he gonna?
It could very well be. He's admitted that he's not the wrestler he used to be. Then again, why would you be? You're 40 years old. Everyone loses a step every now and again, and he's not the new guy anymore. He's not the top guy anymore. He'd be lucky if he gets another title reign, to be honest. He will, but he'd be lucky if he holds on to it, any longer than he used to.
Yeah, I mean, there's still obvious feuds for Rollins. When Rollins gets done with Breaker, you can obviously see. I mean, they already hinted at it last week on Raw. The Roman Reigns Rollins thing is still, that story still needs to be, I suppose, concluded. Then again, I'm not sure that story will ever be concluded because they go back. They're always going to be feuding because of the Shield stuff. So they're always going to be, it's one of those things that that story is always going to be there. But you have to imagine that match will happen probably sometime this year. Wouldn't shock me if it's at SummerSlam. It depends. Rollins versus Reigns is going to happen because obviously Rollins never lost his title, did he? He had to vacate it, so that's the story. I never lost my title. I was in, so I had to vacate it. So give me my title back. So that match is coming. I don't know if anyone really. I don't know how many of us want to see it, especially with the babyface Roman. I for one don't. But it's going to happen. This is what I mean. This is why I'm surprised to see him lose again and again, because if he is going to challenge for the world title, they're not particularly protecting him. I mean, he was protected like in the loss, but still, he's still losing. He lost to Gunter, now he's lost to Breaker. Both obviously were not clean victories, of course, but still, it's still a lot of losses. Any other thoughts on this, Alan? I thought it was a decent match. I thought the story was okay. It got a bit. There was a bit botchy for my liking. It could have been a bit cleaner, but overall, I thought it was decent, but only decent.
Yeah, I thought the match was fine. I had no problem with the match. Like I said, the superplex into the Seth Rollins superplex into the then Bron Breaker switching that into the Falcon Arrow. I thought that was a great spot. Yeah. That was probably the highlight of the match. But otherwise, yeah, it went exactly how I thought it would. I thought Bron Breakker would walk out of this with the win. I think he's the one who actually needed the win out of the two. So yeah, it was exactly what I expected it to be.
It seems that they have stalled on Breaker a little bit. That doesn't mean they don't think they're still obviously going to push him. You can tell he wouldn't have won otherwise. But it looks like he's been, if you think of it like a race, right? A race who's going to get there first. I think Breaker was all the way going to be their next kind of big thing. And then somebody looked and said, oh, look, Obafemi. Personally, I can see a little bit what they see in Breaker. Obafemi, I'm not sold on. But it looks like Obafemi has overtaken Bron Breakker in the kind of young breakout star who's most likely going to be hot-shotted to the main event. Because I thought Breakker was going to... I thought Breakker versus Rollins was going to be the WrestleMania title match. And I thought Breakker was going to win the belt from Rollins at WrestleMania. I thought he was going to win the Rumble. I thought he was going to fight Rollins. I said that like six or 7 months ago. I thought that was exactly what was going to go down. And it ends up being a Breakker. Breakker wasn't even on the card, WrestleMania card.
No, he wasn't.
No. So Breakker's lost the step, but it's not really his fault. I think the injury obviously has sent him back a bit. And it looks like Obafemi, if I would say which one of them is going to get a world title first, I think Obafemi is going to get the title first. Not that I don't want him to, but that's what I think they're going to do.
Yeah, it could very well be that way.
Second match.
US title.
Go on, Alan, say his name because I know.
Go on then. So this was Sami Zayn getting it's a WrestleMania rematch. So Sami Zayn for the US title against Trick Lemon Pepper Stepper Williams. What I thought was interesting about this was that Sami Zayn jumped the bell, didn't he?
He's a heel.
Licks in before the bell even rung to start with.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite good. And obviously Sami Zayn was playing up the heel here, even though Trick Williams is still a heel himself. Sami Zayn was acting more of the heel in this match.
I mean, the fans have turned Sami Zayn heel. I don't think the plan was ever for Sami Zayn, you got to remember, he was challenging for the world title in Saudi at the Royal Rumble. But ever since he lost that match, the crowd has been absolutely shitting all over him. And I don't know exactly where it started. They've obviously gone with it, right? Because Zayn is a heel now. He is. They've obviously gone with it. But I'm not believing for 1 second that was ever the plan. They didn't think that Sami Zayn was going to get a bit of a dud reaction in Saudi. I think the reaction to Sami Zayn in his world title match with Drew at the Rumble really surprised. It surprised me too because the fans were dead silent. And I'll tell you why. Nobody believed for a second Sami Zayn was going to win that belt because he never was. Nobody had any kind of belief that Sami Zayn had any chance of winning that belt. And it just seems like as soon as he's lost that match, everybody's turned on him. I personally don't get it. I don't get it. But that's the way the fans have, and the WE have just gone with it. They've just okay then. So now you're going to be a heel, and there's rumors out there, Alan. And we don't know how true this is because you know what wrestlers are like. Wrestlers can post stuff and be in character and not be in character, and the blur the lines a lot. But it doesn't. I don't think Sami Zayn's that happy about being a heel. He's going with it, but I don't think it was ever the plan. And I think Sami Zayn's smart enough to know that his best opportunity to ever win the world title was at next year's WrestleMania as a babyface. And that looks like that is completely never going to happen now because he's just turned heel. So in order for that to happen, he then has to turn babyface by the end of the year again to get back into contention to get a world title match at WrestleMania next year. So I can't see that happening. He's just lost twice. He just lost his US belt and then he's failed to get it back in the rematch. He's as far away from a world title than he's ever been. And now he's a heel getting booed. You're not telling me that was the plan. That was never the plan. So Sami Zayn, I'm not sure he's ever going to. There's a small chance that he wins Money in the Bank, and he feuds with Cody over the belt. But that means even if that were to happen and they were prolong that, he would go into WrestleMania next year as a heel in Saudi. No, I mean they ain't going to.
No,
I don't get it. I'm confused by the booking, but they've decided just to go with it. The fans like it. I don't know why, but they do. How do you feel about it, dude?
Yeah, well, I thought this match was it was an absolute mess, and it's pretty much because is Sami a heel? Is he a face? Is Trick Williams a heel? Is he a face? Then you have all the fuckery going on in that match. I mean, midway through, Sami Zayn is on the outside with Trick Williams. DDTs him on the steps. Within 10 seconds, Trick's up again.
Yeah.
Little Yachty takes a haluva kick to the back of the head. Within a minute, the match is over. Yeah. He's in the ring, jumping up and down, not selling the hit he just took to the back of his head. He should still be down from that. You're not a wrestler.
Alan, you know what it's reminded me of?
What's that? I
remember thinking it when I was watching it. Do you remember many years ago? Ryan might remember this. I don't know if Ryan's going to like what I'm going to say, but I have to be honest. Do you remember when Cena beat the Nexus at SummerSlam and it was like a 10-man tag elimination match?
Oh God, yeah, that shouldn't have happened at all.
And do you remember what the ending of that? Do you remember the travesty of that ending? He was DDT'd on steel steps. Yep. I think it was was it Justin? Oh, what was
Gabriel?
His name, Alan?
Justin Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
hell of a wrestler.
Yep. He recovers from the DDT right away and then pins them both in like 2 minutes. He'd just been DDT'd onto steel steps.
And this is why we hate Cena.
This is what this reminded me. I'm not going to use this tirade on Cena, but that is what it reminded me of, Alan. This is what it reminded me of, Alan. I was just like, no. And it made Sami Zayn look stupid. It made Trick Williams look stupid. It made Little Yachty, whatever his name is, look stupid. It made me not believe. I mean, wrestling's about trying to immerse yourself, right? When somebody gets DDT'd, right? And I came from an era, so did Alan, where if you got DDT'd, especially by lucky Jake Roberts DDT'd, you were done. In the ring, you were done. You were pinned. Nobody kicked out the DDT, I think, till The Undertaker, till WrestleMania 8, got up from a DDT. Until that point, you get DDT'd. That's it, you're done. So I came up in that era where the DDT was devastation. And now I got to watch a DDT on steel steps, and the douchebag recovers within a minute and then goes on to win the match. He's not stunned. He's not selling his head. He's fine. It didn't hurt him, Alan.
No, I know. Irked me like no one's business. Where is the storytelling in this match? Where was it?
Well, that's a wrestling. It's a wrestling. I wouldn't say it's a WWE because AEW just as guilty for having people kick out of 1,000. Moves just have less impact than ever before when it comes to And I know what people are going to say. People are going to say to you and me, "Oh, get on with the times, old man. Wrestling's evolved." Wrestling can evolve by all means. And I'm not saying that people can't kick out of a DDT. I accept the fact that the DDT's become much more of a set-up move than a finisher. Despite me not particularly liking it, I can accept that. But how weak has that move become? I don't want to see anyone ever get DDT'd again and get a 2 count. Because I've been taught by that Trick Williams match that DDT is a weak move because he was hit with it with the steel steps. So it's a weak move. It barely hurts you then. So now going forward, I don't want to see anyone use a DDT as a finisher ever. I don't want anyone to hit a DDT during a match and get a 2 count, because for me that's like a snapmare. You might as well snapmare them because of what you've just shown me. So they destroy the moves. And I'm not actually blaming Trick Williams because he's so young that he probably doesn't get to decide that. So I'm actually not blaming Trick Williams. I am going to blame the producers of the match who thought it was a good idea. Like, okay, DDT him on the outside, but then he's fine 30 seconds later, and then he goes on to win the match. I don't think that's Trick Williams' call. He's way too young. He's not. He's way too young and too green that he probably has say and stuff like that. But whoever put that match together, I don't know which producer it was. Could have been Chris Parks for all I know.
Well, I'm going to try and find out.
What, the producer? Well,
I'm going to try and find out who the producer was to this match.
And the thing is that Sami Zayn should know better as well, because Sami Zayn is a veteran and he should know and is old school enough that he must. If you talk to him privately, he ain't going to come out and say, I bet if you spoke to him privately and you say to him, do you think it was a good idea for Trick Williams to get DDT'd on the steel steps and then 30 seconds later he's fine? He probably would say, no, probably not. He probably should have sold it a lot more. It should have been a much more devastating move. But, you know, Sami Zayn doesn't wield that power either. You only guys like Roman Reigns or John Cena or probably a CM Punk, only the top guys have the ability probably to say, well, hold on. No, I don't like that part in the match. That part in the match makes no sense. That seems silly to me. I'm not going to believe for 1 second, for example, I'll give CM Punk because he's the best example. If CM Punk watched that match, I bet you there's a high chance he would say, what the hell? Why is Trick Williams even conscious right now? He was just DDT'd on the steel steps. Because because people like us and of that age bracket remember the devastating move the DDT used to be. Just like the pole driver used to be. And the pole driver's weird. The pole drivers kind of came back into vague a little bit. The pole drivers started getting protected again, right? The pole drivers become like a banned move. Like you can't pole drive people, right? Because it became a banned move. So it's got its like mystique back. But the DDT is destroyed for me. I'd like to say, I never want to see anyone treat the DDT as a powerful move because they've destroyed it for me. So that's my little rant over, Alan. So what did you think of the actual match, though? It was sloppy, wasn't it, as well?
It was a very sloppy match. Very sloppy. God, I was going to say, was a WrestleMania match any better? Probably not. I don't think these two have any chemistry at all, if I'm honest. I don't know whether that's just Trick being green. Because obviously the match Sami Zayn had, was it last year or the year before when he beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship? That was like a masterclass match. So I'll probably put it down to Trick just being green. He's only over because of his the whoop that Trick stuff in the that he comes out to. That's the only reason he's popular, and he's got that little whatever his name is with him, Yachty. Well, he doesn't sell a haluva kick to the back of the head.
I find it interesting that people were so mad at Pat McAfee, rightfully so, because I didn't particularly like it either. But why people were obviously turned on him. People are not a fan of Jelly Roll doing his stuff. He's outlived his welcome a long time ago. But people this guy seems to be getting a pass for some reason. Like people seem to be, as Alan just said, he just no sold Sami Zayn's finisher. Why is he getting a pass? Just
like any celebrity, he just doesn't belong there. Do what celebrities always do lately. Stand in the crowd, look at the camera and wave. Have your 5 seconds of fame and that's it. Move on.
Yeah, and this is after, and I have to mention it because I said to Alan before we started the show, like, should we mention it separately or we'll just cover it? I have to mention it. This is after the absolute deplorable and just stupid, I don't know what other word to use, angle they ran on SmackDown with this gingerbread man funeral. I got a little bit of a giggle, and this is the best I'll say about it. I got a little bit of a giggle when they superimposed him onto famous wrestling moments like the Austin stuff and Hogan stuff. I got a little bit, right? I got a little bit of amusement because I've seen I've seen stuff like this before. Loads of comedies have done stuff like this before. Other wrestlers have done stuff like The Rock's done this loads of times in the past. So this is not a new thing where they've done things like this, right? And it got a little bit of a giggle out of me, right? Because how stupid it looks, right? So there is, I'm not a completely whole grumpy old man. I can still laugh at stuff, right? So I had a little bit of a giggle. What I didn't find funny was the whole show being based around this, it being the main event segment of the SmackDown, and ends up with just being Little Yachty as the gingerbread man who beats the shit out of Sami Zayn with a stick. So you must think to yourself, oh, if Little Yachty's doing this stuff, then surely Sami Zayn's going to win the title, right? Because Sami Zayn was just made to look like a joke, right? No, he loses. He loses on the pay-per-view as well. So what are we doing here? You're burying Sami and Zayn, which I know they don't care about anymore because they've had to turn him heel. They're feeding him to Trick Williams, and I personally don't see the massive appeal in Trick Williams. I don't see it. Others might. I don't see it. I think he's a very, very poor man. I can't believe I'm comparing him. He's a very, very poor man's Booker T. Very, very poor, very, very poor man's Booker T. His body reminds me of Booker T. Booker T had the long legs and stuff like that, right? He reminds me of Booker T. He hasn't got Booker T's charisma, in my opinion. He hasn't got Booker T's ability. Do you remember some of the stuff Booker T could do in his prime, Alan, in WWE?
Oh yeah, he used to do like Mr. Dropkicks, didn't he?
Do you remember his
CK dropkick?
Yeah. Do you remember his finisher off the top rope? He span around, he span in midair and did a leg drop.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's dare I say it's on 2K26 as one of his special moves.
Yeah. So he ain't no Booker T, in my opinion. But the fans like him for whatever reason, and I'm gonna mention the chat in a sec because they are talking about it. Let me bring up some of these comments, Alan, before we move on. Wayne says, "Evening, folks. Hope you're well. The only who should feud with a DDT, finish with DDT, Jake Roberts. Yeah, Jake Roberts protected it. I bet you if you asked Jake Roberts, he'd be absolutely. If you showed Jake Roberts, Trick Williams getting up from being DDT'd, I bet you Jake would have had a heart attack, bless him, because he'd be like, "What have you done to my finisher?" But the DDT, if the DDT doesn't want to be a finisher anymore, I have to accept that, and it has been diluted over the years. I can't say that it hasn't, but to have it more or less do nothing. They've destroyed the move. So that's what I think. Wayne says WWE doesn't seem to concern themselves with the small details anymore. Can't argue with that, Alan, can you?
Oh, don't worry. I'll get to that when we get to Raw. Something really irked me about Raw, and I will get to that.
Ryan says, is Trick a babyface? Yeah, he's been a babyface. He's a babyface because the crowd cheer him. His character isn't a babyface in the same way that I don't think Roman Reigns' character is a babyface, but the fans cheer both of them. So by that proxy, they are baby faces. But if you look at their characters and how they act, they're not baby faces. But the fans cheer them, which is the most important thing. So if the fans cheer you, then you're a baby face, even if you don't act like one. What else do we have? Is Owens ever coming back? And if so, when? Kevin Owens. I don't know. He's still recovering. It was a very serious operation he's had. The last I've heard is that he is coming back. Like, he's not been told that he can't come back. But I think maybe it's taken him longer to heal than originally thought, because he's been out for nearly a year and a half.
Well, I have some news on that, actually.
You do? What have you got then?
Apparently, if truth be told, he's going to be coming back around SummerSlam.
It will be interesting, considering Sami Zayn's now new alignment. It will be interesting to see if they do what they do tend to do with these two, and they kind of put them back together, especially when they're on the same side of the fence. So I could see Owens coming back as a heel. Even he's better as a heel anyway. Owens coming back as a heel, maybe kind of backing up Sami. Maybe that is one way to get Sami, if they do want to give Sami the world title. Like I say, maybe. There you go, Alan. Sami Zayn, Money in the Bank. Oh, Kevin Owens comes out, helps Sami Zayn win the Money in the Bank. There you go.
So yeah, it's possible. But apparently WWE are running a tour of Canada in August.
Oh, they'll get cheered in Canada. So, yeah. I think he'll come back as a heel, Ryan, and I think he'll probably be involved with Sami Zayn in some way, I would imagine. But you never know. You never know. When people come back after injuries, they tend to get cheered no matter who they are, so they might feel that they have to bring him back as a face. So we'll see. Ryan likes him better as a face. Fair enough. Ryan says, get rid of Danhausen. Don't worry, we'll be coming to him in a sec. And keep our truth. Okay. Wayne says, the Zayn-Williams feud is tedious. Move on and get them both something else to do. I agree. I didn't like it from the start. Alan, will you be able to stream the Omos World Tour match when you can? Oh, he's 2K.
Okay. Yeah, of course I can. Yep, I'll try and work out a schedule. I need to fire up 2K and I'll have it, see what's on there for me to do. Otherwise, it'd be a very short stream.
And Wayne, Raw was basically focusing on the new blood and building the in-ring future of WWE. We'll talk about Raw in a sec. What's it done with Backlash, Wayne? Right, so we're coming to the comedy match, the third match of 5. Normally the bathroom break match. As I said at the start, the in-ring wrestling actually wasn't as bad as you might think, considering who is involved. And the little guy, like I say, he's obviously a talented athlete, a talented luchador wrestler, and the stuff he does quite well. And to be fair, Wilson and Miz took the moves quite well. And I'm trying to be as nice as I can. And it was what it was. If that's what you want from wrestling, I'm not going to tell you can't have that. For me, I'm not that interested in this stuff. I didn't find it offensive because I accepted it for what it was. But as I said, I think to the boys as we were watching it live, if the rest of the show and the rest of the stories and there was a lot more serious stuff going on, then I would be much less offended. But because we're only getting 5 matches nowadays, and they spent, if you take all the entrances in it, they spent half an hour on this match. If you take all the time and everything,
yeah, it's true. This match was longer than you could probably fit about 3 or 4 WrestleMania matches into this one.
They spent a quarter of the show on this. So is that I'm asking you guys? Is that what you want? Shouldn't this have been on a Raw or a Smack? This should have been on a SmackDown. It shouldn't probably have been on a PLE. The key word there is premium, right? Premium live event. What was premium about that match? It shouldn't have been on the show. Not really. Not when they've if they're only going to have 5 matches, don't waste one of the slots on that. Put that on a weekly SmackDown. That didn't need to be on pay-per-view. Like I say, for people who like that stuff, then it is what it is. But for me, Alan, I don't have that much else to say. Technically, it was okay. I don't really care who wins and losses, even though there is a part of me that sees former 2-time world champion The Miz getting pinned in a comedy match. I mean, we've seen it before. We saw Snoop Dogg pin him last year, so at this point, I shouldn't be surprised. But the more they pin The Miz, the more I think to myself, God, you don't have to have any talent to become world champion, do you?
Yeah, I think he's just doing all this because we all heard about all TKO's problems about cutting people's contracts in half by 50%. Based on their TV times, and Miz is probably thinking, you know what? I'll do anything you want me to. I don't care what happens. I don't care who I get pinned by. Just keep my contract intact.
I think that's fair. I think Miz knows he's never sniffing another main event again, nor should he after these losses. He shouldn't be anywhere. In fact, Miz should never win a title. Miz should never win a title. If Miz wins a title, any title, it devalues that title. If Miz ever wins another belt again,
yeah, true. He shouldn't win any more titles.
So, but look, wrestlers have careers and they can't be on top the whole time. Very few wrestlers are on top the whole time. Like Hogan, people like that, very few are on top the whole time. So I do accept that at a certain point of their career, the wrestlers do have to start losing. And Miz is obviously into this part, but how far down do you go with it? This isn't Miz losing to, proper guys that much. This is Miz losing to celebrities and comedy characters. This is as low as you can this is pretty much as low as you can get. And he's a former multiple time world champion. He's a former IC champion.
Yeah.
He's held all these belts. Yeah. He's held all these belts.
Did he win Money in the Bank as well?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Money in the Bank winner. There you go. Money in the Bank, US title, world title, tag title. Highly decorated, the Miz is highly decorated. And like you said, now he's just staring at the lights for comedy acts and celebrities.
It's just a massive fall from grace. But as Alan said, he's 100% right. Miz is just happy to be there. Miz is married. He's got an attractive wife. He's got a family now. He's at that point in your life. He's in his 40s. He knows he hasn't got that long yet, so he's just happy to have a job. Alan's 100% right. And he's a company guy, and he probably thinks of himself, rightly so, as long as I keep doing what they ask me to do, they probably ain't going to fire me, even if that means I have to lose every match and I have to lose to all these celebrities and all these comedy guys. They're not going to fire me because I'm willing to do anything. And I guess there's a place for there's a place for guys like that, I suppose, who would just do anything you ask them to do, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I know Alan's not going to like this match. I actually think it was probably the best technical match.
Before we get to the second match, the fourth match, there was something they mentioned before this match started, and it was an ad for Triple Mania, and they're going to go 2 nights with this. Now, that's not what caught my eye. This is probably the wrong channel for me to mention this, but the sponsor caught me by surprise for Triple Mania. I don't know if did you see who the sponsor was for Triple Mania?
Remind me, Alan.
Gears of War E-Day.
Oh yes, sorry, I remember now. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, wrong channel to mention this, guys. We're a wrestling channel, but yeah, I just thought it took me by surprise, thinking, okay, so are we going to be seeing Gears of War E-Day? September, October time.
Yes, that's probably a good inkling of the fact they must be willing to release that, because otherwise, yes, they wouldn't be advertising it.
So all the gamers out there, come to the Play Pouch, little plug. Yeah, we'll be playing Gears of War E-Day.
Hopefully they've got a horde mode. Hopefully it's on Game Pass. We're assuming it's on Game Pass.
Assuming Game Pass.
Then there's no reason.
Yeah, true. So yeah, as you were, sorry.
Yeah, so Alan's favorite female wrestler, Io Sky. We know.
I can't stand her. She's boring.
Versus Asuka. Now, as I said, technical wise, it probably was the best match, technical wise, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a good technical match, to be fair.
Yeah. The crowd weren't that into it. You got the as expected Kyrie chants, but they weren't drowning out the women the whole. I think they broke out maybe twice in the match, because I think there was a rumor that WWE had, we'll get her to come back for a night, and it's just like, no, she's probably in Japan. If she wanted to go home, which it sounds like she did, she ain't gonna fly over. What? Because you asked her to? No, she's probably in Japan, living her life, planning her future. But she didn't show up. The fans chanted a couple of times. The match was solid. I did quite enjoy the spot where Io Sky blocks the mist with Wade Barrett's little notepad.
Oh, his notepad, yeah. Michael Cole, and then Michael Cole made a comment like, "There's nothing written in here anyway." Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, it was different. I appreciate stuff being different sometimes. And then Io pretty much beats her. But the unexpected thing was that after the match, Asuka's just a babyface now. She's just, the horrible tormenting stuff she's done, that's just not there anymore. And all of a sudden she's proud of Io Sky, and she got her respect, I suppose, but it just seemed a bit sudden. Like she just flicked a switch. And then she waved goodbye, and it seemed like she was saying her sayonara's. And they followed it up on Raw, where she said that she was going, but apparently she's actually not retired. But apparently she is going away for a while, whatever that means. To deal with, I think the last report I heard was she had some family problems to deal with in Japan. So who knows how big family problems and how long it would take. But obviously she's gone for the foreseeable future, but she's not apparently retired. And apparently she wasn't offered this 50%. That was the rumor, right? Because obviously it makes sense. Apparently she wasn't asked to take a pay cut. Apparently that stuff apparently isn't true. Apparently it was her choice to leave to deal with these personal matters, probably in Japan. So eventually she'll come back, but she left as a babyface. She left on Raw anyway. But tonight, after the match, she's babyface. She's crying with her and hugging her. And I did think to myself, you're breaking kayfabe a little bit. I thought to myself, I didn't find it realistic. I thought she should have been, if she wanted to be respectful. I understand the opponents having respect after a match, right? And I understand maybe they wanted to turn her face. That's fine. I just thought it was too much. I thought it was too. She should have maybe shook her hand and given her a bit of a stern look and be like, okay, you've earned my respect. Not hugging her like they're best mates. I thought to myself, you've just gone to war, and Asuka's been portrayed as this kind of violent. Asuka was being portrayed, by the way, as this violent, abusive kind of teacher to Kairi Sane. That was their. She was this abusive, dominating teacher to Kairi Sane, and obviously Kairi Sane's not there, so we're meant to just forget about that. But all of a sudden, Asuka's now, she's like now she's nice and caring. I just thought to myself, if you want to turn her face, fine, but don't do so much so fast. Like, if you want to have her do a face turn, fine, but have her still be kind of like, play it out. Everything is so rushed. Everything is so rushed. There's no long term anything anymore. They just rushed it. Don't have her be that way by flipping a switch. You should have her be like guarded and be like, okay, you've earned my respect. I'm going to try to change my ways, and then you play it out. I mean, obviously she's gone, so they felt they had no. But it was a weird switch, and it took me out of the moment, Alan. It took me out of, these two are meant to hate each other who've just earned respect, to like, oh no, these two were best friends just putting on a show. That's what it said to me. After I looked at them both and I thought, no, you're breaking kayfabe. I might as well been watching who is it, Alan? I might have been watching Michaels, Helmsley, Razor, and
Scott Hall, yeah.
Diesel.
Yeah.
And Madison Square Garden. Yeah, I might as well. That's what it felt like to me. It did. And I thought to myself, don't like it. Don't like it. Don't, you've done, you can have her turn face and show respect in a certain way without her breaking character. In my opinion, Asuka broke character. And Io Sky also broke character in response. So I don't know whose idea that was. I don't know if it was a spur of the moment thing. I don't know if they got permission to do this. But if I'm one of the producers in the back, or if I'm Triple H, right, who apparently is meant to be old school, and I use that word apparently. I mean, this is the same Triple H who obviously did the curtain call, so maybe he's fine with it. Obviously, he must have been. But for me to do that on a pay-per-view, I mean, at least when Helmsley and guys did it, they were on a house show.
It's true, yeah. It wasn't really televised, was it?
No, there's only footage of somebody's phone. There's like cam footage, but it was never broadcast on TV. This is a PLE. Look, I'm old school, guys. You know I am. So I'm gonna always dislike stuff like this. I just think stuff like that you save for behind the cameras, or certainly at least when the TV goes off air. You save that stuff. If you want to do it in front of the arena, that's one thing, even though that still will be leaked. But to just do it live on TV and to break character like that, I just thought to myself, you've just shown me that wrestling's fake. I already know it's fake, but I don't need you to show me that it's fake. I already know that it is. You're taking me out of the moment. Anyway, Alan, did you anything? I know you don't like Io Sky, so you probably had a little interest in this match, but
no, I thought it was a great technical back and forth. Yeah, like you said, the spot with the poison mist hitting the notepad, that was quite ingenious. I quite enjoyed that. Yeah, I was taken back by the whole end with Asuka, but I'm sure I saw a sign in the ring saying, thank you, Asuka. I'm thinking, what was that meant to me? And it wasn't until the end of the match when I thought, oh, is she leaving or something? Otherwise, I thought the match was fine. I mean, I could have done without hearing Io Sky's music, because that just bores the hell out of me.
Yeah, I know, I don't like it either. Asuka posted, and Ryan's right in a chat. It could be that this is going to be an episode of Unreal. You're right. This could easily end up being an episode of Unreal that we'll see in 6 months' time, and this whole thing. And it could be that, which is great, but not if it affects the on-screen product and breaks character. But they don't, as Wayne said earlier, they don't care. They don't care.
No,
they don't care. We might care, or at least us old school fans might. Look, maybe new school fans don't care, and that's okay. I understand. If you're new school fans, you didn't grow up in the era where it was protected. You didn't grow up in the area in the era where stuff was left off the camera. Shows like Unreal and stuff like that weren't a thing. And in the internet, even when me and Alan were growing up, the internet was in its infancy. So there weren't all these stuff going around. There wasn't that much news around. And kayfabe, although everybody knew it was predetermined, including myself and Alan. Me and Alan knew it was. Come on, me and Alan knew it was I knew it was predetermined when I was 11 years old. So I've always known, but having it shoved in my face is where I draw the line with it personally. But Newer Alan. Maybe we're just old. Newer fans don't
Yeah.
care. They don't care about protecting stuff. They don't care. They don't care about immersion. I suppose. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, maybe I can admit that maybe it's an age thing. I can admit. Like I say, me and Alan watched 90s wrestling, and I've gone back and I've watched a hell of a lot of 80s wrestling. That's what I enjoyed.
So, yeah, that was the golden era, really.
Yeah, I think so.
I think since like the early 90s, about 93, 94, it became oversaturated. I think with the birth of Monday Night Raw, WWE in particular became very saturated because we were getting like the top superstars versus each other. We weren't getting them versus the local talent as it would have been.
Yeah, you were lucky if you got one proper match a week. You get the main event would just what was classed as a main event in 1993 is the opening match today. Because normally in 1993 or something, you'd get jobber matches and then you get one proper match as the last match. In this, you get proper matches for every match.
Yeah, because I remember watching. I think it was just like a pay-per-view, like saying I think it's like SummerSlam '90. I think it might have been, and the crowd just go absolutely mad when the superstars actually clash with each other because they hadn't seen that before. They kept them apart for so long.
Yeah,
they're building these storylines over the course of sometimes like 2-3 months. And it wouldn't be to this big pay-per-view event, as they were called then, kids, that you get these 2, 3, 4 guys clashing with each other, and the crowd would actually lap it up and they would love it. But now they're just used to it now. Like, oh yeah, they fight each other every week. Who cares?
I think that's spot on. Less is more, and yeah, like Hulk Hogan's first run was 84 to, let's say, 92 for argument's sake, right? Hulk Hogan in today's world, his run would have been 2 years max, because you can see Cody Rhodes, who maybe is the now equivalent of Hulk. I'm not saying he's not as big as Hulk Hogan, but he's the equivalent. He's the babyface world champion, right? And people are already bored of his babyface, right? People start getting bored of Cody Rhodes' babyface after you won a title. They were bored of him within 6 months. People didn't get bored of Hogan for 6 years. So Hogan nowadays, his babyface run would have lasted 2 years before people started turning on him, because Hulk Hogan, it took him that long to become overexposed in the same way who Cody Rhodes has become overexposed, because as Alan's just said, you wouldn't see Hogan for weeks. And if you saw Hogan, you get a 5-minute promo from Hogan.
Yeah, you come out onto that, into the arena, because they'll have that little special interview stage.
Yeah,
at the end of the ramp. And you get Mean Gene Okerlund coming out and saying, "Yeah, welcome my guest, WWF champion Hulk Hogan," and then the crowd will go wild. You cut like a 5-minute promo about eating your, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, and talking about his 24-inch pythons and how he's going to beat insert big heel into this conversation, and there we go.
It's a different time, and like I say, I know people are going to throw that at us. You guys are old, and we are a product of our age and when we grew up. And as Ryan puts in the chat, I understand, mate. Of course, you can't see it that way. It's not because it's not a knock on you, bud. It's you grew up. You've grown up to know nothing but how wrestling is presented since 2015. So of course, I mean, even you must have noticed a slight change even between 2015 and 2026. You must notice the changes since TKO took over. You must have noticed the ads being everywhere now, even worse than they were before. You must notice how the shows are now structured differently. How now you get all these ads in between shows, which you never used to get. You might get the occasional, WrestleMania next year is being held in such and such place. Or you might get a 30-second, this is the theme song for the pay-per-view. But that's as far as it goes. What you wouldn't get is 5-10 minutes in between matches of ads, and then cut into all these celebrities who don't even know who most of us have never heard of. That stuff just rarely happened. The only time you saw celebrities generally under Vince's watch, can't believe I'm defending Vince, was at WrestleMania. That's when you kind of got all the kind of big celebrities.
Yeah, because it was like, the big event of the year, the big American pastime, WrestleMania.
And this is not me and Alan saying we want Vince back, because we don't, because Vince McMahon had a whole slew of problems and is a piece of shit as a human. We all know that now. But But anyway, so it's a different era, and I do accept that me and Alan grew up in a different era. It is what it is.
Yeah.
The main event, Alan.
Yep.
The big dog, the quote unquote babyface world champion who cheats to win because he did, versus Jacob Fatu. The crowd cared, and I guess you can say that's the most important thing. The crowd did care. They weren't silent. They obviously like Roman Reigns. Why? I believe it's because the fans like a winner, and Roman Reigns has been the most protected entity in this company in the last 10 years, even more than John Cena, even more than Cody Rhodes. Nobody's been more protected than Roman Reigns. And just like sports fans who tend to gravitate to people who win a lot, I believe that is kind of why I think it is. Because Roman Reigns is booked to win 95% of his matches. And he does. So, of course, people are going to generally cheer him because people like a winner. Why do you think people liked Goldberg when he first arrived? Because this dude murdered everybody and won every match. It's the same reason why people are liking Obafemi right now, because this guy wins all the matches. So I'm not that shocked that he's getting cheered. I don't get it. But I have to accept the fact that a lot of people like him. But the character and the storyline for me are not a babyface character. And I'm not really invested in this feud. One thing I will say one positive thing. I am happy that Jacob is a heel. Even though storyline wise, if you really look at his character, I do question how much of a heel he actually is. If you actually look at the story they're telling, this is in Jacob Fatu. This is somebody who was not deemed to be the chosen one. This is somebody who was rejected by his own family. This is somebody who obviously spent a long time in jail and had all these problems and was not the golden boy like Roman Reigns was. And I'm not being funny. Am I meant to boo him or am I meant to cheer him for that? Because for me, at least where I come from in my life, and I'm only going to speak for myself, who am I more likely going to relate to? The guy who was chosen and handpicked to be the chosen one and given all these opportunities, or the piece of shit guy who was left to fend for himself? Who am I meant to relate to more? Jacob Fatu or Roman Reigns? Well, I can already tell you, Jacob Fatu.
Well, he does kind of get built like a Marvel villain, doesn't he? A Marvel villain's always built from tragedy.
Yeah.
They always have, they don't see themselves as a villain. They never do. But we're meant to perceive him that way. So I understand that from his perspective, yes, he's not the heel in this story. He's the good guy. And out of the two, obviously I prefer him because I was sick after Roman Reigns' 1,400-day reign where he only defended about 20 times or something in 4 years, and had to cheat to win every single time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with Jacob Fatu on this 100%.
I find the story a bit hard to follow. And maybe this is just where I'm coming from as a person, and I can accept that. Maybe I'm not well adjusted enough to a lot of people in society that I might perceive and look at Jacob Fatu as being a good guy. But I honestly look at this storyline, and I honestly do see Jacob Fatu as the good guy. Alan's right. The best villains are the ones who do believe they are the good guy, 100%. So that's probably that's the best thing of this feud is I think actually, even though Jacob ain't winning this world title, you can rule he ain't winning no world title, not yet anyway. He ain't winning. I'll be shocked if he wins a match in this feud, right? Unless it's a non-title. He ain't coming out of this feud with the belt. But Alan, if they have him acknowledge Roman Reigns at the end of this, do you know how upset I'm going to be?
Yeah, he should stick to his guns. I mean, he's very gung-ho about not acknowledging him. So, yeah, if he suddenly thinks, oh, yeah, do you know what? Fine, I'll acknowledge you. Yeah, that's pretty much... That's character assassination, I think.
Do you think... We're going a bit long. We have to end it soon. But do you think quickly, Alan, that Stone Cold Steve Austin, the anti-hero of the modern era, right? The most popular babyface of the modern era. And before people say John's... No. Steve Austin, even more than The Rock, the most popular babyface of the modern era. And it's not even close. Do you think Steve Austin's character would acknowledge Roman Reigns?
Nope. It would have been fingers in his face and a stunner.
So Jacob Fatu, if they want to build this kind of and I don't know if that's what they want, but if they want to build this kind of because I see elements of this of Fatu. I do think he's a heel because of because he's attacking Roman, so he's doing heel things. He is. And Austin was not a white meat babyface. Austin was a shaded grade character, which is fine. But if they want to turn Jacob into this kind of rebellious, kind of crazy Samoan, he can never acknowledge Roman Reigns.
No, yeah. Well, yeah, yes, I agree. He should never have to acknowledge him. That's all. As I said, it's character assassination if he does.
Yeah. One of the reasons why Steve Austin became so beloved was because, and I remember the match like it was yesterday, because it's one of the most important matches in history. Bret Hart has Steve Austin in the sharpshooter. Does Steve Austin give up? No, he doesn't. He's bleeding down his face. Me and Alan watched this. Me, Alan, and our friend Michael at the time, we watched this live. And we were all glued to the TV watching the Bret Hart Steve Austin match.
Great match. Great match.
WrestleMania 13. And it was a double turn done to perfection. Bret Hart turned heel, Steve Austin turned babyface, all in the same match. And Steve Austin was bleeding in the sharpshooter, and in the fans from that moment loved. I mean, they already liked him before that, but that was the moment where everybody liked Steve Austin. Because he showed this spirit, this anti-authority spirit. And that's why he started appealing to the modern man. And then, of course, his feud with Vince took him to the next level because Vince was that was the evil owner. But that character. So if they want to build Jacob Fatu into even something like that kind of anti-establishment character, who fans will always gravitate to, by the way, because of reasons like that, because they want to be rebellious as well. He can never acknowledge Roman. He can never, ever acknowledge Roman Reigns, no matter what happens, ever. And if he does, and I think that he will, this is a problem, Alan. I think that he will. I think that he will in the end. I'm going to be so deflated. I'm going to be like, well, that's his character's dead. Then he's done. He ain't this big rebellious, strong kind of independent thinking character. If they want to have Samoans who suck Roman's ass, they've already got two of them already. They've already got the Usos.
Yeah, got the Usos. Doing a great job there, aren't they?
Yeah. So. Yeah, Wayne remembers the match. Ryan, I don't know. Ryan, if you've never seen that match, I recommend you watch it, bro. Though it might be hard. I don't know how it would be looking at it without understanding the context going into the story.
Well, they normally cut a really good video package anyway.
Yeah.
But this was like two technical masters going head to head with each other. This is how the match was perceived initially. And they said the only way to it was a submission match, wasn't it?
Yeah. Even though Austin, as he admitted, if you didn't know any submissions, he had the $1 million dream that he was using when he was with Ted, and that was like the last submission he ever had. So it's like, yeah. For me, Alan, like I say, we're nearly out of time. So for me, I knew Reigns was going to win. So I can't say I'm angry at the ending because I knew what the ending was going to be. But I do find it interesting that Roman cheated. And apparently...
Yes, he did, yeah.
From what I'm seeing on Raw as well, because I know we haven't got enough time really to cover much. I know you wanted to say one quick thing about Raw, but on Raw, apparently the fact that Roman cheated was never brought up. What?
No, never brought up at all.
But isn't that a big part of the story? Oh, I couldn't beat him by myself. So the quote-unquote heroic babyface had to literally cheat to beat him. Why was that not brought up? Why? They can't tell their own stories. I don't get it. It's stuff like this Wayne said earlier. It's these small details, and it's not even that small a detail. It's how he won the match. Why is that not being brought up? Why is Adam Pearce not brought that up? Roman Reigns, his character probably wouldn't bring it up because his character is quite cowardly. If you look at it personally, that's what I think. That's why he's not a babyface. Jacob Fatu should have brought. Yes. Jacob Fatu didn't bring it up either.
No,
which is weird.
Very weird. And this segues nicely into my quick little rant about Raw.
Go on then.
Something that happened on Raw. Okay, there was a segment towards the beginning of the show. The original El Grande Americano introduces, Bruto and Julio. Yeah, obviously, Julius and Brutus Creed to Adam Pearce. Dominic Mysterio just happens past them. And they're all asking about opportunities. And then Pearce is like, yeah, of course. Yeah, why not? And he says, I'm going to give El Grande an opportunity. I'm going to give him a shot at the Mega Championship. Okay, I thought, all right, interesting.
Mhm.
But not long after that, there was a package already put together about El Grande going against Dominic for the Mega Championship. But hang on. And it was narrated by Corey Graves, who's at ringside doing commentary. Where has he found the time to do this video package? Where? And throughout the whole show, I think this video package hits in different spots for the whole show until the match actually happens.
Alan,
where have they found the time?
Alan, you know as well as I do that with all the adverts, they grabbed Corey Graves, they rushed in backstage during the 10-minute adverts, and then he recorded all the voiceover work. Don't you know, Alan?
Yeah, I call bullshit. That's just bad. That's just TKO. That's just TKO stepping on Trips' feet again.
It's more holes in logic. And I know it's professional wrestling, so I shouldn't be looking for the too much depth. Like I shouldn't be expecting it to be like a classic film depth. And fine, maybe not, but you can have there should at least be a certain level of logic. There should be a certain level of it. I'm not expecting a masterpiece. I think that's not realistic. But
I mean, generally with the Monday Night Raw show, you get 2-3 matches that are already set in stone, and then when the show starts, whoever's in charge decides to make a match here, there, and everywhere like they're doing currently. All well and good. But why the fuck is there video packages for that match that you've literally just made? Why? How does that make sense? Tell your goddamn stories properly. You don't have to have a video package in there about the Mega Championship. El Grande Americano versus Dominic Mysterio tonight on Raw.
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive gaps of logic. Obviously, they should have announced the match obviously before the show started. Then that would have solved that. But the fact they actually didn't sign the match until Raw was already started, and then they had the backstage segment. Yeah, you're right. It's silly. There is
absolute garbage.
People will say you're nitpicking, Alan, but it's not. It's a massive problem that's there.
Yeah, it's a massive flaw in their storytelling, and their logic.
And it all contributes to, just like the DDT thing we were talking about earlier, it all contributes, and the Asuka thing as well. It all contributes to losing immersion. And this is where maybe it is an age thing.
I'm just looking at the rundown for the show, right? After that segment where Pierce makes the AAA championship, you get a segment with Penta in the ring. Paige comes out, and then the match is made between Rusev and G-Von. Directly following that match is a video package for the Mega Championship. Directly following that match.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Corey Graves is also doing, I can't, if I wanted to be a smart ass, I could try to say, they've got these fantastic editors, Alan, that can put together video packages in like 10 minutes. But then you take into account all the voiceover and stuff. And it's just like.
Exactly. Corey Graves is at ringside at the time, and he's doing commentary. So where do they find the time?
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, we're just calling out logic gaps.
Yeah, that's all.
And it's just, as I said, it just breaks immersion. And look, we want to lose ourselves. It's a form of entertainment. It's like watching a movie. For those 3 hours, we want to lose ourselves as well. We want to lose ourselves in the story and the characters, and we want to believe that this is all real, even though we know it's not. We want to lose suspension of disbelief. We want to lose ourselves, but it's very difficult if you're being thrown out of the immersion time and again by small things like Alan's just said, and by stuff like the DDT, and by the stuff with Asuka breaking character, in my opinion. All these little things, and it just takes you out and takes you out and takes you out. And then you've got all the ads which take you out, and they take you out, and they take you out, and they take you out. So stuff loses its meaning because it becomes so difficult to suspend your disbelief. And that is a massive problem in 20. I mean, it's not a new thing. It's been getting worse, but I do think the last 2 years in particular, since TKO have taken over, I just think their approach to, I don't think they get wrestling. They get promotion. They're great when I say great, but they get advertising. They're good at getting sponsors. They're great at doing all this stuff. But do they get wrestling? No, they don't get wrestling. And I think this is where obviously it's been left up to Triple H.
Yeah.
And I think Triple H is failing. But I also think his job probably He's serving a lot of masters. So maybe we're being too harsh on Triple H, because I do believe Triple H is an old school booker. I saw his stuff in NXT, Alan, before this new NXT. We saw his stuff in NXT when it's black and gold. He used to do only 5 matches per show, and they were some of the best pay-per-views that there were.
Yeah, some great matches. I mean, you look at the old DIY versus
Revival.
The Revival, yeah. Those matches gone for like 20, 30 minutes apiece.
Yeah. So I can't believe that Triple H has just lost that. I don't think he has. I think that basically the difference is that in NXT, he was left alone. He was left alone even by Vince, because Vince didn't really give a shit either. Vince was too busy running. He was just like, do what you want. Do what you want. I don't care. Do what you want. It's NXT. Do what you want. Just train them well and get them in front of the cameras. That's all. I don't really care what you do that much. Because Vince didn't care. Because whenever Vince brought up anyone from NXT, normally he'd bring them up and be different characters. People remember Karrion Kross, what Vince did to him when he brought him up?
Oh, yeah.
So, but now Triple H is not being left alone. So I actually don't I don't think it's all him. I think that he himself probably is a good enough booker and has proved it in the past that he does know how to tell stories. But I just think that either he's overworked and there's too many shows, because that's another thing, Alan. NXT was 1 show a week. That was it. 1 show a week. How long was NXT? Was an hour, 2 hours max?
2 hours tops.
And that was it. And he had time. He had time to build stories. He had slow long-term storytelling, which is what you got on NXT.
Oh no, sorry. The original NXT Black and Gold was an hour. The weekly show was an hour. Yeah, weekly show was an hour. And then when you get to like the takeover events, they were like 2.5.
Exactly. So it's so incredibly different from what he has to do now. I'm not saying Triple H isn't responsible, and of course he is, because it's under his watch. But I'm just saying that I have enough evidence in my head to know that Triple H, under the right circumstances, can do stuff fine. But under these masters, these TKO masters, they, like I say, maybe it does happen to bookers. If you look through the history of professional wrestling, there is a expiry date for bookers. They've got their stories they want to tell. They've got the ideas in their head that they like, but they do get to a point where the canvas, turns black. They run out of ideas, and that's why, and they move on. That's why in the old territory days, you got bookers used to move on. They had a certain life expectancy, and then they would move on. Dusty Rhodes in the NWA. That's why he went to Vince in 1989. Because he was relieved of his duties, because people started getting tired of his ideas. Maybe this is where we're at with Triple H. Maybe Triple H has run its course. His ideas have, and he's run out of ideas, and that's why he doesn't really know what to do anymore, because he's done everything that he wants to do, and he's just like, well, the fact that we've seen how he's treated some of his old characters, Alex the Black, who's no longer with us, Ciampa's gone. Gargano apparently is not going to sign another contract.
Yeah,
all these guys were massive deals in NXT. He built the shows around most of these dudes, but in the main roster, it's the same guy, Triple H. But in the same roster, they're treated completely differently. It's like he can't find stuff for them to do, which is it's weird.
Just bad writers. I think he needs to fire his writing team. Bring the 20 that they lost and get rid of the writers.
Well, that's true as well. In NXT, it was mainly him, and I think it was him and like Jeremy Borash, wasn't it? Well, who you didn't?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So now he's in the bigger corporate world. He's got all the writers. We've all seen the shows on Unreal, assuming that stuff is legit, and we'll never know for sure. But that looks, if that is how they do things, they all sit around the room with a bunch of writers, and Bruce Pritchard's there, and Michael Hayes is there. Road Dogg was there, not there anymore, but Road Dogg was there. So. But hey, look. Anyway, Alan, I guess that's it. We're having a little bit of a rant.
A little bit.
Yeah, we'll be back next week, probably at 7 on a Wednesday. Hopefully there'll be, hopefully Com and Kev will be back as well. But yeah, that was the Backlash review. Really, we talked about Raw a little bit. But yeah, we're kind of out of time. We're only meant to go.
Yeah, Backlash 4 out of 10. Says Bret Hart.
I think 4 out of 10 is probably about right, actually. I know it's a Bret Hart meme, but I actually think that score is probably about right. The wrestling was okay. Technically, the wrestling was fine, but you if you wouldn't have seen this match, you wouldn't have missed anything.
Yeah, that's true.
You storyline wise, you would have missed nothing. So, thank you, Alan.
Yeah, Bryce.
Everyone. Remember to like, subscribe. We will be back next week, probably at 7 next Wednesday. We'll be covering. We'll try to talk about SmackDown and Raw next week. But yeah, you guys enjoy your week. Always be a fan of professional wrestling, and I do call it professional wrestling, not sports entertainment. But that's me. Big up, Alan. Thank you again, bud. And
Cool.
We'll see you again next time. Take care and what a maneuver!
Yeah.
Yeah, I shall lexicon. Yeah. Yes.